Hey friends, welcome back to the Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Sally Allen. And today we are talking about middle managers' biggest time thief. Can you guess what it is? Meetings. Not just any meetings, but the endless parade of other people's meetings. Can you relate? And it's somehow not just any meetings, but the endless parade of other people's meetings that somehow became your problem to attend. You know what I'm talking about. Your calendar look like a your calendar looks like a game of Tetris played by someone who hates you. And you're spending more time talking about work than actually doing work. Here is how it actually happens. You get promoted to middle management, and suddenly everyone thinks you need to be kept in the loop. You're important enough to be invited to strategic meetings, but not important enough to decline operational meetings. You're senior enough to be consulted on decisions, but not senior enough to make decisions without consulting others. So you end up in meeting hell where every hour of your day belongs to someone else's agenda. Meanwhile, the work that actually requires your attention, which is developing your team, solving real problems, thinking strategically, gets pushed into evenings and weekends because your actually workday has been hijacked by other people's priority and need to process information out loud. You know what I'm talking about. I know you can relate to this. I have seen this so many times and I have coached so many leaders on this. What do you do? But first, here's what's really happening. You've become a human meeting token. People invite you to meetings not because they need your input, but because they need to show how they include management. You're there to legitimize their project, provide their air cover for their decisions. And just because someone said we should probably have a manager in this meeting, that's why you're there. But here's the brutal truth. Most meetings you attend don't actually need you. Yeah, I'll say that again. Most meetings you attend don't actually need you. And most meetings that need you aren't happening because you don't have time to schedule them. So, how do you escape this meeting madness and take control back of your how do you escape this meeting madness and take back control of your calendar? Here are some strategies that will save your sanity. First thing, you need to start asking the magic question. Before you accept any meeting, what input do you specifically need from me? And could you get that input in another way? Half of the time, people invite you to meetings because they haven't thought through what they actually need from you. I'm sure you're guilty of doing that. Maybe they need a quick decision that could happen over email. Maybe they need context you could provide in a 5-minute phone call. Maybe they need you to support the project, which you could communicate without sitting through an hour-long update. The second thing is distinguish between meetings where you add value and meetings where you're just an added headcount. You should be in meetings where your perspective changes the outcome. Listen, I'm going to say that again. You should be in meetings where your perspective changes the outcome, where decisions can't be made without your input, or where your team needs you to represent their interests. You shouldn't be in meetings where you're just a passive observer, where the agenda would proceed exactly the same way with or without you, or where you're only there for visibility. The third thing, master the art of strategic decline. You can't just start skipping meetings without explanation, but you can decline strategically. I'm not going to be able to make that meeting, but I'm happy to review the notes and follow up on decisions that affects the team. Or I think Sarah would actually be a better position to represent our perspective in this discussion. One of my personal favorite. I'm going to skip this one so I can focus on the deliverable that we discussed last week. And here's a big one. Schedule meetings with yourself for the work that actually matters. Don't leave it for when you have time. That will never happen. You actually have to put in time blocks to do your work that actually matters. If you don't protect time for strategic thinking or team development and problem solving, it will never happen. Treat these meetings with yourself seriously as you would treat a meeting with your executives, because the work you do in those meetings are often the most important work that happens in the conference room. So here's your reality check. Your presence in a meeting doesn't necessarily make the meeting more important. Your absence from the real work makes your work less important. Every meeting you attend is a trade off with something else you could be doing with that time. Make sure that trade off is worth it. Now, one of the things we tend to do is to go into those meetings, but then we multitask. That's even worse. Don't waste your time if you don't need to be in the meeting. Just take that time to do the things you need to get done that's important to you, to your team, and to management. And listen, stop letting others people need for validation becomes your scheduling problem. Stop saying yes to meetings just because you don't want to seem uncooperative. Stop confusing being busy with being productive. Your job is to manage your team and deliver results, not be the professional meeting attendee. Protect your time like you protect your budget with clear criteria and firm boundaries. Friends, today, that's a wrap. If this hits home or it sparked an interest in you, please come join me on Instagram and YouTube. And remember, if you change your mindset, you can change your life. Have an amazing day. I'll see you in the next episode.